In 2021, Spider-Man: No Way Home pulled in $1.9 billion at the box office by colliding alternate dimensions together on screen. Marvel managed to bring Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland into the exact same battle, cashing in decades of audience nostalgia at once. But introducing legacy characters and multiverse-ending magic creates a severe structural problem. Once a neighborhood vigilante stops a cosmic event of that size, there is no way to scale the physical stakes any higher. The only structural way to follow that level of spectacle is through absolute subtraction. That subtraction started in the final minutes of his last movie. To stop reality from tearing apart, Peter agreed to let Doctor Strange, a powerful sorcerer whose magic accidentally pulled in those alternate dimension villains, cast a global memory-wiping spell. Because of that spell, Peter's girlfriend, MJ, and his best friend, Ned, have entirely forgotten him. Every public record linking Peter Parker to Spider-Man has been wiped. This isolation is compounded by the fact that he is still actively grieving the recent murder of his Aunt May, leaving him without a single living relative. He also lost his access to the Avengers' resources. The billion-dollar Stark Tech infrastructure, the orbital satellites, the advanced fabricators, and the artificial intelligence assistants he relied on are gone. Without billionaire funding or magical backup, Peter is forced to adapt. He drops the role of a heavily armored Avengers sidekick, becoming a highly vulnerable, self-reliant survivor. The first trailer for Spider-Man: Brand New Day immediately establishes this raw reality. Peter is now operating in a hand-stitched, vibrant red and blue fabric suit. A sewing machine and spandex offers zero ballistic protection. This is a severe tactical downgrade from the bulletproof, liquid metal nanotech armors he recently wore into space. But the trailer reveals a biological change that offsets his lack of armor. Peter is now shooting organic webs directly from his wrists. This animation highlights exactly how drastic that shift is. On the left, Peter's old mechanical web shooters required chemical fluid cartridges and constant maintenance. On the right, the new anatomical cross-section reveals his body has actually mutated to produce the webbing biologically. By replacing his signature technological gadgets with a physical mutation, the studio is actively erasing Iron Man's lingering influence. They are pushing the character back toward a completely self-sufficient, purist interpretation of the hero. The physical scare of his enemies has shrunk to match his new loadout. Instead of fighting warlords from other planets, Peter is now tackling the localized criminal underworld of New York City. The trailer confirms the return of Michael Mando as Scorpion, paying off a street-level vendetta established 9 years ago in Spider-Man: Homecoming. He is joined by Marvin Jones II, who steps into the role of the classic diamond-skinned mobster Tombstone, signaling a heavy organized crime presence. To survive this mob war, Peter is forming a very different kind of alliance. Instead of taking orders from a billionaire philanthropist, he is teaming up with the Punisher, a lethal vigilante played by Jon Bernthal. There are still elements of the wider Marvel universe in play. Mark Ruffalo is returning as Bruce Banner, alongside new actors like Sadie Sink, joining the cast in undisclosed roles. Putting Spider-Man between a heavily armed assassin, a mutated criminal, and a cartel boss points to a highly violent, grounded narrative. The glossy, brightly lit battles of his past are over. Spider-Man: Brand New Day is the fourth solo film for Tom Holland, but it functions entirely as a studio course correction for the intellectual property. This timeline plots Peter's 6 previous appearances. He is tethered to mentors like Iron Man or Doctor Strange, who provided tech and direction. But watch the end. His last movie violently snaps those tethers. The 7th node, his upcoming film, is left completely isolated. That isolation is exactly what the character requires. A defining trait of Peter Parker is his constant struggle to balance extreme personal grief and financial ruin with his responsibility to protect the city. By stripping away his friends, his advanced technology, and his public identity, the studio finally dismantled his safety net. They burned down his entire established life to deliver the definitive, struggling, street-level Spider-Man fans have waited a decade to see.